Hey everybody, welcome to the channel. Glad to have you here. Today we have a Dwarves versus Bretonnian matchup. And you can see I am the Dwarves and I've deployed my artillery here at the front, so I'm going to be moving my troops past and over to set up a new line approximately here. Just so these organ guns who have short range can start firing kind of early on, and in case he had a ton of trebuchets, I wanted that to be quick. But you can see I do have a main line of longbeards with great weapons here, expecting foot squires. In the back, I do have Warriors of Dragonfire Pass. I have 2 units of Slayers. I have 2 units of Thunderers, the Grumbling Guard, and I do have the Peak Gate Guard Hammerers here, who are going to be trying to dish some damage. And they are super cool. They do have armor sundering, magical attacks, and a very high armor-piercing damage. And I brought these guys because I wanted some magical damage to put down on Grail units. Up in the front, I do have the Grumbling Guard, who are fighting with Belgar in the front lines. And I do have 1 Runesmith out on each side. I believe they just have Rune of Wrath and Ruin. Far out here, I do have some Rangers Vanguard deployed. Was hoping to get some rear shots in. We'll see how that goes. Over here, you can see the Bretonnian army does have a ton of men-at-arms with maces, and this is a new unit added in Steel Faith Overhaul. And so they're a peasant unit with armor piercing. You just have 2 questing knights, 2 units of foot squires, a reliquae for the middle, Royal Hippogriff Knights, Kingly only occur, 2 paladins, 2 peasant bowmen, and 1 field trebuchet far in the back who's going to be opening fire. So you can see these questing knights do get a little bit too close here, and my organ guns are going to open fire and just chunk a ton of health from these guys. Definitely good stuff, dropping a model already, and you can see I'm shooting over here as well. You can see I think my Goblobber is just putting a ton of damage on these foot squires, and I'm keeping those organ guns here focused on his cav, really trying to shut him down. He does notice my ranges over here, which is definitely not good for me. I was hoping to put some damage on these peasants from the back, but he is going to kind of catch them out. You can see I'm going to move some Thunderers to respond, maybe some Slayers, and my organ guns are still focused here on these cav, just doing a ton of damage over there, trying to keep up with the speed the cavalry are running, and doing a great job. So chunking a ton of health, already paid for itself, probably, because they are, in this mod, only like 900 gold, 825 I think. Over here, definitely not protecting my Thunderers like I should. Leon Leokur and a Paladin are going to come in here, start doing some damage, but you can see my Peak Gate Guard are going to respond, and they're going to be great against Leon Leokur. Just huge armor piercing damage is going to really chunk him out, and you can see already almost dealt with this foot squire just for the Goblobbers, so now I should be switching over here. And my dwarf warriors here, my longbeards, are going to get a counter charge. They should do okay. Just look at those. Oh man, shot my own guys in the back. Definitely not a good thing. So over here, this is not going good for my Thunderers, but you can see these questing knights taking a ton of damage. Thunderers over here opening fire. And you can see these Royal Hippogriff Knights do get into these Warriors of Dragonfire Pass. Oh man, just chunking these men-at-arms. My Thunder is still opening fire. Here my Slayers are going to catch these guys between my Dwarf Warriors and the Slayers, forming a bit of a sandwich. Thunderers are opening fire. Trying to deal with these guys, but they do have regeneration, so they're not going to be very easy to beat. My Rangers over here just getting caught out by that Paladin, definitely not the best. And my opponent has poured some Peasant Bowmen in here, probably trying to get at some of these units in the back, and just running out of range a little bit. In the middle, you can see Belgar just laying down the law. He's going to really help shift this in our favor, and you can see he's going after that Paladin with the Damsel with the Lure of Life. Organ Gun is now switching over here to help this Runesmith, sort of prone being dropped to kind of reduce the effectiveness of all these units. And you can see this poor Ranger unit just getting eaten alive. may be useful just from a bait point of view, but they are going to route off the field. Organ gun opening fire here. Warriors of Dragonfire Pass still just kind of trying to guard these guys. And you can see the Goblobber still racking up a ton of kills on this huge blob over here that these Slayers are holding back. He did rout, I believe, my Dwarf Warriors over here, and they are, yeah, so Slayers there filling in. And you can see the Goblobber opening fire as well. Some nice volleys there from the Thunders. And great targeting with that Field Trebuchet, targeting these PK Guard who are just chasing the Leonker around the battlefield. Beligar's in here. Look at him all angry. And these guys are not going to have enough melee attack here to really do anything to Beligar with his 64 melee defense. You can see here, I have kind of crashed in the middle. He's still got a lot of units though. These Royal Hippogriff Knights are taking some organ gun fire. And organ guns are probably not the best choice against these guys, just because they have so many projectiles. They're not all going to be able to hit these large targets. Definitely this is where a cannon would be better, but I was not really expecting these guys. So organ gun is going to have to do. You can see now I've turned both on them, really trying to get them off the field, but their regeneration is doing a number. You can see these PK guards still trying to find a home, protecting my few units of Thunderers that I have left, and these Grumbling Guard are going to be here getting in front. There's really nothing I can do, sadly, about that Field Trebuchet. You can see these Slayers over here are actually going to be great again in this fight against these Men-at-Arms, because they only do have 44 armor. The Slayers are just tanks against anything with low armor. Again, chasing these Runesmiths. Quickly only occur, trying to find a home. But really anywhere he goes, I'm going to be hitting him with various artillery. Thunderers, you can see over here, I'm turning both units of Thunderers and the organ guns on these Royal Hippogriff Knights, but they're just not, they will not die. They do cost about 2,300 gold though. You can see still at 4 models there. The first model is going to drop, and all of a sudden, just in that last volley, you can see down to 1 minute. In the middle, you can see this Paladin. Definitely not going to have a good time against Slayers and armor-piercing Runesmiths, because Runesmiths actually do have armor-piercing. I guess things with units, with hammers, anything with hammers has armor piercing in this game, which I guess is thematically relevant. Like archers for England in the fight against France would bring halberds, which are essentially, they had essentially long sticks with hammers on the end, and they would use them to effectively fight against knights, because a sword would have no hope of ever getting through a French knight's armor. And so I guess that's why these Runesmiths here, with their little hammers, have that armor-piercing damage. But you can see here, it's just a wrap-up at this point. My organ guns are focusing in, my Thunderers are turning, and Leon Leonker is not going to be able to regenerate out of this. Army losses and Withering Fire are just going to scare him off. After this one, I actually tried to, we flipped the engagement, and I led Bretonnia against Jack's Dwarves, and just not really able to do much. I think in this mod, Dwarves are just a little bit too powerful for cheap Bretonnian infantry to handle. I brought just like a typical Bretonnian anti-dwarf build, Leonker, Damsel of Life, tons of Foot Squires, Guerrilla Quays, Questing Knights, and I was not able to beat him. So Dwarves in this mod, just definitely something to be scared of. Definitely have to bring Chariots, I think. You can see my organ guns both ranking up to rank 2. My Godlobber with 235 kills. My PK Guard with 2 kills. Definitely just busy chasing stuff around. My Longbeards with great weapons, though, did great in that front line engagement. You can see here these guys just not racking up enough kills in that front line. Field Trebuchet getting a decent amount, 75 for a pretty cheap artillery unit, definitely worth it. But what we can do is just kind of show you what Dwarfs look like in this mod if you haven't experimented with Steel Faith by yourself. You can see here, look at this organ gun, only 850. Its range has been increased, cannon 850, grudge thrower is only 675. Yeah, and you can see this flame cannon only 900. So you can get a pretty intimidating firing line here without spending too much. And it definitely makes dwarves scary because you can actually afford to protect your back line with a lot of this cheap stuff and bring a ton of firepower. But anyways, great game to jack, and thanks for watching. That's that.